Freedom Munitions 42 grain 223. So I like oddball stuff, and a 42 grain 223 is definitely an oddball cartridge. So if y'all are unfamiliar, the 223 is typically about 55 to 77 grain. So a 42 grain bullet is way below the common 223. I went ahead and snatched up a couple of boxes just to kind of see what kind of performance and accuracy that they can get out of something like this 20-inch upper. So this is my what would Stoner do build, and I've got the 20-inch Aero Percision upper on there with a 1-in-7 twist. It's a government profile barrel, and I'm pretty sure that these perform better out of like a 1-in-8, 1-in-9, maybe even like a 1-in-12 twist, something like that. So 1-in-7 twist won't really exactly be the best testing platform, but it's what I got, and I think it'll do just fine. So the 42 grain 223 is not typically meant for accuracy. I think it's more just meant for I guess closer range varmint hunting, something like that. This right here is not only just a lighter bullet, but it's also a lead-free bullet. So that's actually how they brought the weight down, because lead tends to be heavier than what they use, which is zinc. And it's a full metal jacket. They jam 50 rounds in these boxes, which I really like. So I just opened up this one, and got a helicopter coming in. But this, so you can see, it's not really loaded in any particular kind of order. They kind of just mashed 50 rounds in here. There's a little yellow jacket in front of the camera, so sorry about that. But they just kind of stuck 50 rounds in here pretty randomly, so I'm hoping that it actually is 50 rounds. I guess we'll find out. But I'm going to start with like 20 rounds of reliability testing, and then we're going to do 5 rounds of chronograph testing. Something tells me these will actually be going pretty quick, especially with the 20-inch barrel, because it is a lighter projectile. And then we'll push it out and we'll do some accuracy testing. I'm going to start, of course, at 100 yards, but we'll push it out to hopefully 300 yards, something like that. Again, these are not meant to be accurate, so I don't really want to push them out further than 300 yards, but we'll see what kind of grouping that we get. So without further ado, let me go ahead and load up 20 rounds in this 30-round mag, because YouTube and their stupid rules, and then we'll go ahead and get to some reliability testing. Alright, so I got 19 loaded up right there. Before I load the 20th up, I just want to show you a little comparison. So I have it up against a PMC 55 grain, and on the left is the PMC. So you can see that there is a little bit of a difference in the projectile size. I mean, there's kind of more of a point with the PMC. The Freedom Munitions right here, the 42 grain, is kind of fatter, and again, this is a lead core, this is a zinc core, so this does look bigger, but it's actually lighter. So up against, or side by side I should say, it looks bigger than the 55 grain PMC, but it's like I said, it's actually lighter. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that PMC away, load up the 20th round there. We'll see how it does with this 20-inch upper right here. Oh, hearing protection. Don't want to forget that. This is going to be a loud bang. So far, so good. Back on the last round. Everyone cycled. All right. So far, so good. So let me go and load up some more rounds real quick. All right. So sidearm, by the way, for this video is going to be the IWI Masada with a primary arms red dot on there. Speaking of optics, when I pushed this out to 100 yards to get the best grouping that I possibly can. I am going to switch to a mid-range scope that I brought along. So hopefully, at least with my skill set, I'll be able to get some pretty good testing out of this platform. But we're going to go ahead and test it now out of a 20-round PMag. So these Magpul PMags are very common. I'd say probably more people use PMags than anything else. So I'm sure it'll operate just fine. But let's go ahead and give it a try. Oh yeah. Earring protection. Gotta take care of those precious ears of yours. Recoil is really nothing, especially with this 20-inch barrel there. No problems whatsoever. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and load up 5 more rounds and do some chronograph testing, see how fast these 42 grain projectiles are going. All right, I got 5 more rounds loaded up here with a little 10 round mag, but I'm gonna do some chronograph testing. The sun's kind of coming out in full force here, and I hope it doesn't mess with the chronograph. If y'all had seen that golf ball launcher video that I did kind of recently, I may or may not have shot the little wings that go over top of the chronograph to help with the sunlight. That's all I'll say about that. So we'll see how this does, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to get some accurate readings and the sun won't mess with it too much. So let me go ahead and fire off 5 rounds and see what kind of velocity we're getting here. Safety. Holy cow. 34.19. I knew that this would be going fast. I didn't think it would go that fast. 34.19. All right. 33.65. 34.05. 35.23. That's crazy. Y'all aren't even gonna believe me. I swear, it says 35.23. Last but not least, 34.37. I cannot believe that I got over 3,500 feet per second. That is definitely the fastest bullet that I've ever fired. So, kudos to this stuff. Man, this stuff is screaming. I can't believe that. I'll notate the average, but you know, it seemed relatively consistent. It was all over 3350-ish, I think. I think it had about a 200 feet per second, difference between the high and the low. But yeah, I'm pretty impressed with how fast that's going. So that wraps up chronograph testing. Let's do some sighting in. I got to get that scope on here, and after I zero that scope, I will see you guys, and we will do some accuracy testing. Well, this is what happens when you don't use cooking spray or whatever you use to line the mold of the ballistics gel in order to get it out of the mold. But I was able to get it out in relatively one piece. It actually kind of, I mean, it doesn't look that great, of course, but there is a bit of a crack right here. So we'll try and work around that, but or work through that, I should say. But I just kind of want to see what these 42 grain Freedom Munitions are going to do in ballistics gel. This is another day. Obviously, I'm a little more clean shaven this time. Yeah, I didn't do any ballistics gel testing, and I thought, you know what, this stuff is flying so fast that I would really love to see what it did in a block of ballistics gel. So this is obviously homemade. It's not probably close to, well, I mean, it's probably close to FBI specs, but it's definitely not going to be exact. I also don't have any clothing barriers or anything like that. I'm just going to shoot into it and see what happens. So, and if possible, I want to try and catch the bullet. So I'm going to put these water jugs right behind the block of gel. standing at about 10 feet. Oh my God, this is gonna be tough. All right. Well, at first glance, we did puncture the first jug, but we didn't puncture the second jug. Let me go and bring the camera over here and we'll see what happened. I can see bullet fragments in here. Alrighty. So I didn't move it at all. I can already see a little bullet fragment right here, as well as a little hoverfly friend right there. So let me try and see if I can, well, first of all, let's just take a look at this water jug. Definitely have a penetration, but I don't see any bullet in there. I take that back, the bullet is in there. Holy cow. That's awesome. Let's check this out. Hang on a second. It looks like that it sheared off all the copper jacket and left the zinc core pretty much intact. There it is. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. It deformed the point just a little bit, but that is a squeaky clean zinc core right there. Let me put that down. Let's take a look at the wound channel here. Wow, that's a pretty massive wound channel. I don't know if you guys can see that. Basically this first part right here, I mean, you've got like a good 2 to 3 inch wound channel in there. Probably 2 inch wound channel, something like that. These blocks are about 5 inches thick. But yeah, I could see a little bit of the jacket fragments in here. There's some bigger jacket fragments right there. But actually most of the jacket fragments ended up in this piece right here. So this is a nasty, sticky, slimy mess here. But that is pretty cool, seeing that zinc, zinc core right there just kind of mostly stay intact. I actually really do want to shoot the 55 grain. So I got one more jug right there. Let's give it a shot, see what happens. Shit. I shot my table somehow. It didn't even hit the jug, which means it probably sort of veered down a bit. It hit the table right here. There's a nice bullet hole right there. So that must have been where it went. Now I kind of wish I didn't shoot that one. There's a couple of fragments though. Hopefully the camera will pick this up. But one little fragment shooting out that way, another shooting out the other way. But we did not puncture the jug, which is cool because this jug lives to see another day. This right here is my mold, and you can see the gel in there has already started to melt. So I'm just gonna go and pack all this stuff up because I would like to try to reuse this if possible. There are bullet fragments and gel everywhere. So that stuff definitely, I'd say it's probably the copper jacket. Obviously that fragments the most. That zinc core definitely held together. So, alright, let's get to the rest of the video. Alright, well, it's getting pretty late, so I hope that I have enough time to shoot past 100 yards. Depending on the group here, we might just go straight to 300 and skip 200. Or, if the group is really bad, we might just skip 300 altogether and just go with 100. But I actually just sighted in with some Freedom Munitions 223, but it's actually the 55 grain because I have more of this. So I just wanted to sight in with that instead of this 42 grain stuff, because this is my last box right here of the 42 grain. And I'm gonna go ahead and the one thing I'll say about the packaging is that, you know, I understand they do it to save cost. I mean, this is a very cheap round, but it's not the best packaging because, you know, it's just very loose in there, as you can see. So far, we've fired 45 rounds, I think, in this video, and there's the last 5 rounds from that first box, so let me just load 5 more rounds here. 4 and 5. Oh boy. What's up here? Might just be this magazine, actually. Oh, you know what? Actually, I think it's the Ranger plate here. Maybe I can only fit 9 rounds in here, so let's just go with 9 rounds. I do have, you know, other mags, but I like using, you know, if I'm just target practicing, I like using this 9 round mag. So let's go with that. And I lost the sunglasses because it is getting dark out here. But let's see how this does. At 100 yards, this is the 42 grain Freedom Munitions 223. Uh-oh. I don't know if I'm hitting the target. I'm gonna run down there real quick. I just want to see where I'm shooting. I'll be right back. So I think we can forget about shooting 300 yards or even 200. That's a shame. It's really widening up at just 100 yards, which is not cool. It's hitting low right now, and it's not actually hitting. I've got like these, I think they're like 5-inch targets, maybe 4-inch targets, but it's hitting about 2 inches outside of the target. The first shot was at the left or the right, and then the second shot was right on the other side, so it's not like it's, you know, there's any consistency other than the fact that it's low. But let me just keep shooting some more and see if maybe I can tighten up these groups. But yeah, so far it's a bummer. I wasn't expecting good accuracy out of these, but I was thinking that I'd at least be able to get a 4-inch group at 100 yards. It might be bigger than that. All right, well that was a little better. Let me go ahead and load up another 9 rounds. And right now, besides the fact that it's freaking humid as could be, I'm sweating like crazy, but it's really pleasant out besides the humidity. It's only like 78 degrees, something like that, but there's no wind at all. So it should be kind of the perfect situation right now for these. Those first 2 shots hit very low. I don't really know what was going on there, but the subsequent 7 shots all hit pretty much in that little target. So it's tightening up. Let me see if I can do a little better with this mag right here. bit better, I will say. Let's go down and take a look. Alrighty. First things first. This one right here, this group, that right there is the 55 grain Freedom Munitions, and I was using that to sight in the scope, which I have since taken off. But you can see that's probably the same casing, the same powder, the same primer. The only difference is the projectile, because it's the same manufacturer. And that right there is probably a 1-inch group. Wow, that's actually sub MOA. That's about a 0.8 inch group right there. But with that 42 grain, it really opens up. So first of all, down here, this is the first 9 shots, and that, sad to say, is like a 5.5 inch group. Holy cow! Maybe 5 1/3. It's probably. Oh no, never mind. Yeah, there we go. That's 6 inches right there. So that right there is about a 6-inch group at 100 yards. That is terrible. But it definitely tightened up right here. That right there is 3 inches. Yeah. So the second 9 rounds that I did was a 3-inch group. So 3-inch group at 100 yards. I wouldn't say that's terrible. I mean, you know, your typical like AK-47 does about a 4-inch group, so you're already better than AKs. You know, I know all the AK lovers out there just got triggered, but the you know, AR-15s usually do about 1 MOA. Something like this right here, this 0.8 MOA, I'm actually really happy with that. I think this is like 6 shots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think this is 6 shots right here at about a 0.8 inch group. So when I reset the target, I just, you know, I brought this target down just a little bit so you can still see the 55 grainer right there. So you can see that there's a major difference between the 42 grain and the 55 grain. If you think about it, you know, a 42 grain, that's about typically what you see out of something like a 22 long rifle, which is about 40 grains. But obviously we're going about 3 times as fast. But that doesn't seem to help with the accuracy portion of it. You know, 3-inch group, like I was saying right here, that right there is like exactly 3 inches. That's not terrible. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna be upset about that right there. If I was getting this right here, maybe the barrel had to get warmed up or something, I'm not sure, but this would have really made me mad. And you wouldn't like me when I'm mad. Sorry. Anyways, but this 3-inch group, I'm happy with that. However, it's really late, and this video just took a lot longer than I thought it would take. So I'm just gonna go ahead and skip the you know, the 200 and the 300 yard shooting. But just to end off with a bang, I got a full 30 rounds loaded up right here. Let's just do a mag dump. She's reliable, but not accurate. I wasn't really expecting good accuracy, but I'm glad to see it's reliable. It's definitely a good plinking round, I will say that. You know, at like 38 cents a round, I think is what I got it for. That's what I really like about Freedom Munitions, is that they have these really good shipping prices, and a lot of the times you can get free shipping if you spend a certain amount of money. But I believe this was actually, I think it was only like you had to spend 175 bucks to get $4 shipping. So the shipping was basically free. I mean, $4 for shipping is barely noticeable. I don't know. It's not exactly gonna like replace any of my other, you know, or I guess I should say replace like the standard 55 grain 223 that I usually shoot. So I just wanted to give it a try. I was really blown away with the velocity. You know, getting upwards of like 3,500 feet per second. That's unbelievable. So I'm really glad I brought out a 20-inch barrel for that. So I guess that's about it.